Hey everyone, I'm Kimberley Woodhouse and I'm super excited to be here today for one of my favorite people, Tony Shiloh, who hosts Wednesday Excerpts. I had a book released January 3rd, A Mark of Grace. I'm going to read an excerpt from this. This is book 3 in my Secrets of the Canyon series. It takes place at the Grand Canyon, the Altavar Hotel, and the Harvey Girls, early 1900s. I hope you really enjoy this series. It's got a lot of suspense, a lot of intrigue, a lot of really fun stuff in it. So I'm going to read a little bit from the prologue right now. 1907, 13 years later. Altavar Hotel, Grand Canyon. You're such a pretty young lady, Ruth. Don't sell yourself short. Pretty young lady. As the memories of the past washed over her, Ruth couldn't believe how many years had rolled by since that day. But now look at her. No longer did she have a pretty face. No longer was she young and eligible. Had she let her stubborn pride get in the way, was she destined to be alone forever? At this moment, the mirror across the room was the worst villain she could ever imagine. The more Ruth thought about it, the more she wanted to throw something at it and make it shatter into pieces. But she wouldn't do that. Couldn't do that. Because she was a Harvey girl, the head waitress, in control at all times. An example to all the girls under her, mother hen, mentor, friend. She couldn't allow herself to lose all command of her faculties just because her world would never be the same again. This had been a dream, even though she now faced the nightmare before her. Ruth gingerly patted the bandage on her cheek. Lord, give me strength to handle whatever comes. She'd repeated the prayer too many times to count as she waited for the doctor to arrive. She wasn't a vain woman, at least she hadn't been before a mountain lion mauled her face. Had she? Now she spent an agonizing amount of time consumed with her appearance and how it affected her future. She was 32, almost 33. A veritable spinster. If she couldn't work, what was she to do? Where could she go? Working as a Harvey girl had been her entire adult life. It had brought her so much satisfaction. Hopefully she brought God glory through it all. And even when she was younger and struggled when all the other girls were getting married and settling down, the Lord had given her peace. Now she was the head waitress at the crown jewel of the Harvey Empire, an accomplishment she'd worked hard to obtain. It was all she'd ever wanted after donning her first black and white uniform. And after a year on the job, it had been easy to think she still had plenty of time for God to bring her the right man into her life. She'd been completely content. Being a Harvey girl was the perfect job for her. More to the point, it was the only job she knew. What if she couldn't do it anymore? Harvey girls made people feel comfortable. They were trained to be efficient, pleasant, and spotless, without blemish, as the Bible verse went. Her soul might be spotless before the Lord, but people were far less forgiving than he, and she was no longer without blemish. Mr. Owens, the manager of the Altavar, had bent the stringent Harvey rules for Emma Grace in her time of need. Surely he would do the same for her, only Emma Grace could still do her job. Ruth couldn't. Not to the Harvey standard. Her leg would take a long time to heal, and she'd probably always walk with a limp, but that wouldn't be as visible as her face. She closed her eyes. What would she look like? Reaching up with her right hand, she covered the bandaged area of her face, and for a moment she looked normal again. Lord, give me strength to handle whatever comes. The prayer grew frailer with each repeat. It had started out sturdy and resilient, but was now thin and ill-equipped to hold her together. Against the doctor's orders, Ruth began to peel back the edge of the bandage. She stepped close to the mirror, hoping the damage was far less than she feared. I hope you enjoyed that little excerpt of A Mark of Grace. Book 3, Secrets of the Canyon. A Deep Divide is Book 1. A Gem of Truth is Book 2. And this one just released. Super excited for you guys to read this and to hear what you think of Ruth's story. Thanks, Tony. You are amazing. I love you.